The temple in Jerusalem was not the only temple used by the Israelites. As Matthew Vander Els explains, mixing with surrounding pagan nations progressed to the point that Judah began dedicating copycat temples to the worship of not only YeHoVaH, but a second deity the people referred to as God's wife.
Now remember, this is a temple that's devoted to the worship of Yahweh, or YeHoVaH, the God of Israel. Why are there two stones? And look, there's two incense altars. There's a bigger one and a smaller one. But there were two deities being worshiped and represented and had offerings going to in the holiest of holies in these temples in the time of Judah. And the consensus is one was for God and one was for his consort or his wife, Asherah. If you ever have been to the Israel Museum, a great Israel, filled with a lot of archaeological stuff, this is a recreation of the temple that's in the Israel Museum to kind of show it off and what it looked like. And so, yeah, you have some really wild idolatry going on in Judah during the time of Hezekiah and pre-Josiah.
Now, not to mention, you showed me this a little bit before the cameras came on, and you said that there was some interesting stuff found in that in one of those altars.
Yeah, so we found, the temple in Tel Arad was preserved. So it's dated around the time of Hezekiah. The Bible says Hezekiah destroyed all the temples and everything. This one was buried intentionally. So I don't know if it was Hezekiah or whatnot, but it was around the time when the Assyrians were coming in, and they likely wanted to preserve the temple. If the Assyrians overtook Judah, and it would be years before they could kind of repopulate it. So they laid everything down on its side as not to damage it, and they buried it with dirt so they could come back and dig it back up and it could be operational again. And so with these incense altars, apparently there was some mildew or resin found on one of them, and they did some samples, and God's lettuce came back as part of the incense that was offered on these. A little bit of cannabis was in there.
Wow.
Traces of it.
Okay.
I don't know the implications. That's just what they discovered. So that wasn't found in Jerusalem. I don't think we have any evidence that that was used. But in this temple, yeah, they were doing some wild stuff.
Apparently.
Doing some wild stuff there, which is neat. But yeah, this is where Judah decided that God needed a wife, and so they incorporated Asherah into worship here. Here is a funerary, a burial stone with the inscription on it, and it's from the pillar of a tomb at Corbet El Kom. And you see it has this handprint in it, which is kind of neat. You know, it's a weird handprint, but it has an inscription on it. And here's what the inscription reads. Again, this is biblical archaeology of Judea. It says, YeHoVaH the rich wrote it, blessed be YeHoVaH by Yahweh. For from his enemies, by his Asherah, he saved him. And then it has the carving of the hand. By Abiyahu, by his Asherah, by Asherah.